Shalom, welcome to Claim Your Inheritance. This is your host, Nazir Devar, Amia O's Yashiya. I am the Crown Prince of Israel, the President Pro Tem of New Jerusalem, and also the Acting Governor of North Carolina for Brim Nation. Right this moment, what I want to do here is walk you through a standard deal for wholesale real estate. How we find these deals and how we calculate the deals and etc. like that. So you have to bear with me because I didn't set up the lesson for this. I'm just going to, go off the top of my head because I pretty much understand the deals, you know what I mean? So just bear with me here as I set it up. Okay, so there are many different types of real estate services, free real estate services online that you can look properties up on. I like Zillow. Trulia is great too because you can look up properties by neighborhood if you're very familiar with the neighborhoods in your city. You can just type in the neighborhood. They're called subdivisions, and they will show you properties in particular subdivisions. So you go to one of these real estate services that's where you can look up properties, or you can use Google as well, but it's better to use one of these services because it shows you which properties are for sale, and you can separate them by properties that are for rent, properties that are about to foreclose, properties that are currently for sale, properties that have sold within the past 3 years, and things of that nature. So go here. Maybe you want to type in. You want to look. You can look anywhere in the country. Maybe, you know what I'm saying. I like to look in hot spots like Dallas and Las Vegas and things of that nature, and Atlanta. But I'm just going to use my city. Just type in your city, and once you go to your city, now you have to figure out what you're looking for. So, what type of properties that you're looking for. So the goal, the standard goal is to find a property that is selling for 65% less than it is worth if it was in its pristine condition. What do I mean by that? Okay, so if a property is, a little older house, 10 years old or so, or whatever, and the property value has gone down due to wear and tear, the people living there, I'm going to use a round number, say $100,000 property is now selling for $65,000. That is your base situation. Okay, so let me show you this on a calculator. Go to calculator.com. Normally I just pull my phone out and do the numbers, but I want to show you these steps. $65% of the after repair value is what that's called. So after you have repaired it back to its full potential to be sold at the highest value, After repaired the property so that it can sell at its highest value, you have to estimate these things because you have to imagine fixing the house up before you purchase it. So you have to find every number associated with the house that you possibly can: the appraisal, the inspections, the title insurance, the cost of the title itself, which is what the person is asking for to buy the house from them. So I'm going to use a standard calculator here. And I'm going to show you what I mean. Okay, so say you see a house that is selling for $70,000. $70,000. Okay. It's selling for $70,000. So divide that by 65% equals, and this is what the house needs to sell for. See what I mean? So after you buy the house, you need to sell. The house needs to be worth. Excuse me. The house doesn't need to sell for this amount. The house needs to be worth $108,000, $107,692. Okay, so let me use a round number just to clarify this for you. Okay, you see a house that is worth $100,000 after you fix the property up. Okay, you multiply that by 65%, and you must buy the house for $65,000 or less. If you get it for $40,000, that's better. If you get it for $60,000, that's better. But you cannot go above $65,000 for $100,000, a house that is worth $100,000. So that is the standard deal for wholesale property. So you want to buy it for $65,000, and then you want to sell it for $70,000. You want to sell it for $70,000, but the house is worth $100,000. So the next person who just bought it from you has $30,000 to play with. So they can wait a year or two to you know what I'm saying, to sell their house because they've got $30,000 in the bank ready to go. You know what I mean? Somebody come along and want their house for $100,000, they just made themselves $30,000. But wholesalers get in, they get out. So they buy low and sell low. So they buy as low as they possibly can. $65,000 is the max that you can possibly buy this property for at $100,000. That's worth $100,000. So then you're going to turn around and sell it for $70,000. If you get more than $70,000, great. But you want to price it very low like that, so that somebody comes along and snatches it up from you real fast. Okay. So I'm in my city. I'm looking for a property worth. Let's separate this by houses that are for sale. For sale. Okay. And then I want to look at houses that have at least 3 bedrooms, and then I want to look at houses that have at least 2 bathrooms. Apply that. Let it sink in. Okay, so that's still a lot of houses. Okay, so you want to narrow down the price let's go to houses that are under $100,000. Okay, still got a lot of houses over here. 423 houses for sale, just in this small county, this small town that I'm in. So in your city, in a big city where millions of people live, you're gonna have thousands upon thousands of houses for sale like that. So so if you want to, maybe you want to go lower than 100,000. You can do that. Just type in say 50,000. Bam. But you can look for more expensive houses if you want to. You can look for, with our program, you can look for houses that cost up to $500,000. But there again, if you choose a property that is selling, let me clear this out, that's selling for $500,000. If you choose a property that is selling for $500,000, divide that by 65%, okay? And the house must be worth $770,000 or more. So if you see a property in your town that is worth $800,000 after it's fixed up, or if it's already fixed up, if it's already at its full clean and it's at its full potential, got new paint, new tile, new kitchen appliances, and all those things, right? New doors and stuff like that, right? Yo, shalom.
Shalom, Ak.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning. So,
Yes, sir.
I'm joined by a special guest, Ratazala, and today we're talking about wholesale real estate, just a standard deal. Okay, so give me 1 second here.
Come.
All right, so I got an echo from you. Mute your mic for a second. Okay, so we just found on Zillow this hypothetical situation. Just found a house worth that's selling for $500,000. Bam. Okay, so I went to my calculator and divided 500,000 by 65%, and the house must be worth $770,000 or more in order for that house to be a good deal for me to buy. Now, the problem is, here's the problem. If the house is in bad condition because the former owners did not keep the house in good condition, and the person selling the house wants $500,000 for the house, and in fact the house is worth $770,000 after you fix the house up, then the problem is you can't buy the house for $500,000 because it needs to be fixed up. So if it costs you, it might cost you $80,000 to fix the house up, to get it to be worth $770,000 again. So you cannot pay the person who wants to sell the house for $500,000. You cannot pay them $500,000. You have to subtract the amount that it costs you, all your costs. You got it. So you figure up your costs, which we have determined to be $80,000. Okay, so this is fixing the doors, this is putting new carpet in, this is putting new floors in, this is putting new ceilings in, this is putting new ceiling fans and all kinds of whatever, the HVAC system. You know, the roof, you got to put a new roof on that joker, you got to put a new carport out there because it's all cracked up. You know, you got to cut down a couple trees because you got potential of trees to be falling on your house and just doing stuff. You know what I'm saying? So you got to fix the yard, make sure that all those ugly old bushes are gone and everything. So you can determine that it's work that all that's going to cost you $80,000. So the person that's selling his house has got it listed for sale right here. You got it listed for sale right here on this side right here. House for sale, $500,000. So you have to offer him or her $420,000. You can't pay $500,000 for that house because it needs to be fixed up. So that's the purpose of you going to the house, looking at the house, and estimating how much it's going to cost you to fix it up. So how do you do that? How do you estimate how much it's going to cost to fix it up? Okay, well, that's what we train you. We train you here to find all that stuff out. I don't want to give that out to the public of how to estimate the details of, you know, how to fix up a house and how much it's going to cost, because that takes a long time. But you know, it's very easy to learn. It's not very difficult to do whatsoever. Okay, so you guys got this down pat. You can get a property up to $500,000, but it has to be in pristine condition. So the $80,000 that it costs you to fix the property up, plus $80,000, that's how much you can borrow through our program. It's $500,000. So you have maxed out your borrowing potential for that property, for that one property. You can do this for every property. So if you do two at a time, you can get two $500,000 loans. Okay. So now you got you a property for $500,000 in pristine condition because the man said, okay, I'll give it to you for $420,000. Then you fixed it up with your $80,000. Now you spent the whole loan, $500,000, that you have to pay back. You have to pay this loan back, $500,000. So now the house, we just found out that the house, we found this out before we bought the house, that the house is worth, after you fix it up in pristine condition, it's worth $770,000. We just found that out. Okay, so you put it on the market for the max price, $770,000. Put it on the market. You give it to a real estate agent who is a listing agent. They have different titles, and they list your property on what's called the MLS, the multiple listing service. And that's what all real estate agents use to list their properties. So then once it's listed on the MLS, that's your foundation. So then you can market it anywhere you want to. You can market it on Zillow, you can market it on Trulia or any other real estate place. You know what I'm saying? So then you take $500,000. You just bought a house for $500,000. Let me clear this out. Okay, so the house is worth $770,000. Now, in the example that I gave before, we had a house that was worth $100,000, and we bought it for 65%. So that's $65,000. We sold it for $70,000. So 70,000 minus 65,000 is 5,000. Okay, so what did we just do? We bought the house for 65% and sold it at 70%. So that's what you want to do. So in this example, the high example, you have a house worth $770,000. It's worth $770,000. You bought it and fixed it up. You bought it for $420,000 and fixed it up for $80,000. So it cost you, the total cost is $500,000. So you want to take that the the after repair value. This is the value of the property after it's repaired. You got a question? You got a question?
No, not right now.
Okay, no problem. So this is the value of the property after it's repaired, $770,000. So you multiply that by 70%. Bam. So that's what you want to sell it for. You want to sell the property for $539,000, and you just got the property for $500,000. So you're trying to sell this fast as you can in within 2 months. So you just made yourself $39,000 in 2 months. See what I'm saying? And then you done paid back the whole loan of $500,000. Then you paid back your little interest. Your interest is $5,000. You paid back the loan of $500,000 that you bought it for $420 plus the fix up money, the money to rehab the property, $80,000. Paid all that back, bam. So now you left with $39,000. Then you got interest, 2 months of interest, which is $10,000. It's 1%, 1% a month. Bam. So in 2 months, with one property, you just made yourself $29,000, which is divide that by 2, and you just made $14,500 a month. But that's on the high end, and you can do this with 2 properties a month. Well, you can actually do it with way more than that once you get into the swing of it. But you're gonna have to start with 2 properties a month. So let's go back to the low end of the deals so that you can see how this is structured. It's structured the same way every single time. You're trying to find a property that costs you 65% less than what it's actually worth in its best condition. Okay, so for example, let's take this one for example, right? It's at auction, so these are harder to get at the price that is listed here. But I just want to use this number for an example because it's pretty clear, you know what I'm saying? So Zillow says that this property has the potential to sell for $143,000. Says it right there. Has the potential to sell for $143,000. Now it's at auction for $35,000. So let me show you the max that you can possibly pay for this house. Let's take a look at the inside first. So you want to go drive to it, and you want to go inside and take a look at it because their pictures, a lot of times their pictures are not up to date. So see how they don't even show pictures of the inside of this property. So you don't know how bad it is on the inside. Then you want to estimate how much it costs to fix this house up. You got the wrong colors going on here, and it's got an old schematic to the outside, to the exterior, which is all that vinyl siding and no dynamic in the color on the outsides, right? So you want to take all the vinyl siding off. That's going to cost you some money. You want to put hardy board on it. That's going to cost you some money. Then you want to change the colors on the outside to modernize the property. You want to put a stone facade halfway up those beams right there on the front porch, on the front. You want to put stone around here, stone around there, you know what I'm saying? And change and so that, you know, give it some oomph, right? Fix the yard up. Look at it, old stuff right there. You gotta fix that up. Ain't nobody gonna buy it, walk, drive up. They thinking they buying you know what I'm saying, something nice. People with this kind of money want it to be already tip-top shape looking great. So you want to change the colors up a little bit. You don't want to do nothing crazy, but you know what I'm saying? You want to make it a little two-tone colors on that joke. See what I'm saying? All right, so now let's get back to the numbers. I'm trying to get you to focus on the numbers right quick because all that extra training is in our free real estate training program. So now you take this right here, $143,000. Put that in your calculator. $143,000. Okay. Then you want to say, you want to multiply that by 65%. Boom. This is the maximum that you can pay the person who is selling the property. Okay, now you got a problem because you can't see the inside of this house. So you got to drive to the house. You got to drive to the house. You know what I'm saying? You call these people that's selling the house. You call them. You got the phone number, right? Let me show you where their phone number at. Got the phone number right there. Okay. Phone numbers everywhere. They want you to call them because they want your money. Okay, so you're gonna call them and say, hey man, what's the code? What's the code to the lockbox of this house? I need to buy this house. Okay. So once they give you the code to the lockbox, you go in the house and you estimate how much it's gonna cost you to fix the house up. Okay, so we figured it out. We looked out there, we gotta figure out the paint. We did the floor, you know what I'm saying? Put new appliances in. We said, oh man, it's gonna cost us $30,000 to fix this house up. So you subtract that from the maximum that you can pay, and this is the maximum that you can offer the person who is selling this property. The property is worth $143,000 maximum, if you're lucky. So this is the maximum that you can pay for the house. And right now it's on sale for $35,000. So you extra good right now. So you might want to get into that auction. You know what I'm saying? But these are hard to deal with. So you want to stay away from auctions in the beginning. Auctions are real hard to deal with. Okay. So you take this $35,000, you get into the auction, boom. Now you done bought the house. You won the bid, and you're now the new owner of a new house. You won the bid for $63,000. You won the bid. Okay, so now you got to get the money for the house. That's what we come in at. If you want the money for the house, you give us $1,500. You're going to get the money for the house. You ain't got no choice but to get it because you got a good deal on your hands. Because when you sell this, let me show you. You just got this house for $63,000. The house is worth $143,000 minus $63,000. Okay. Minus the amount that you used to fix the house up. So now you just made yourself, after you sell it for $143,000, you just made yourself $50,000. But that's not what you're gonna do anyway. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna take this $143,000 and you're gonna multiply it by 70%. You just bought the house for 65%. So now you want to mark it up 5%. And that's how much, hold on a second. Yeah, exactly. So you just bought the house for $63,000 and 65% is $93,000, right? Let me make sure, double check here. 143,000 times 65% equals 93,000, right? So you bought the house for 63,000. You put $30,000 into the fixing up the house, making the house look up to date into today's time frame that people want to see the house looking like, so they can buy the house from you. They don't want to buy it looking like that, like it came out, you know what I'm saying, out the 90s and stuff like that. They don't want to buy no house looking like that. So you got to fix the house up. So that's the 30,000. So you got 50,000 left over because you took 143,000. That's the value of the property after it's fixed up. That's called the after repair value times 70%. Okay, so this is what you want to sell the house for, $100,100 minus the $93,000 that you spent on the house equals $7,100. So this whole process takes 2 months. So this is just for one property. So just divide it by 2, and you just made yourself $3,500 a month for 2 months. You can do this twice a month starting out. So multiply it by 2. So your first month, you can do 2 properties like that and make you $7,000 in 1 month. Now you done paid back the whole loan now. Once you sell the property, you just got a loan. You just got a loan for $93,000. Okay. So you selling the property, you just sold the property for $100,000. Okay. You just sold it. You just borrowed $93,000, remember? You just borrowed $93,000. So you done paid back. Once you sell it, you got $100,000 in your hand. You're going to pay back $93,000 that you just borrowed from us. Just pay it back. So then you got, that's what's left over for you, $7,000. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's going to take you 2 months to do that. See what I'm saying? So because the only reason it takes 2 months is because when you deal with these buying a property, the people say, all right, well, we need 30 days to close on this property. Close means we need 30 days to give you the money for this property. Okay, so they automatically try to schedule that 30 days out automatically. And then once you get the property and you own it, it's going to take you 2 weeks to fix it up. And the second you own it, you're going to put it on the market for the after repair value, $143,000. The second you buy it for $60-something thousand, $63,000, you're going to turn around and relist it on this same site for $143,000. So yours going to say for sale, $143,000. And people going to be driving by and seeing people working on the property. They're going to hop out the car and say, hey, man, what's going on over here? How much you want for it? We want $143,000. Man, I'll give you, best I can do is $100,000. Sold before you even finish fixing the property up. You tell them, you saw it sold right now. Go, where the money at? Oh, I got to go to the bank right quick. I'll be right back. They're gonna tell you right out, straight out the gate. See what I'm saying? They're gonna want that house because they're gonna see people working on it, and they say the house is worth $143,000. So their goal is to undercut you and beat you over the head. Their goal is to flim flam and shim sham you, right? So they're gonna say, man, I can't give you anything more than $100,000. Why? Because they want to make $40,000 off the property, while you just made $7,000 off the property. So they want to make $40,000, so they're gonna undercut you and say, you know, you want $143,000 for this house, you ain't even finished fixing it up. Man, I'll give you $100,000. You're gonna say, show me the money. Once they show you the money, then it's their property. Now you robbers out there, you ain't gonna be able to do this. You ain't gonna be able to get away with this, cause you ain't smart enough to rob these people. These people are too smart for you. You know what I'm saying? They ready for that kind of stuff. You think they got that kind of money and they dumb people? Okay. So that's how that works. That's the standard wholesale real estate deal. And we go into great detail about these situations in our training. So the training is free. Training is free. And then once you get used to the process and you're you know how to find these deals at 65% and then sell them for 70%. You know that all that in and out. We're gonna show you. So once we teach you all that very clearly and easily, then you're gonna need the money to purchase the property. So you know what I'm saying. So you can borrow up to $500,000. So all you need to do is understand the process and have the plan written on paper of how you're gonna fix the property up. And fixing the property up is just, you just write a list of things that need to be fixed up: the light fixtures, the shutters, you might need a new garage door, you might need new lights on the outside of the property, you might need paint on the outside and inside, you might need a new roof, just the different things. So you list those things and then you estimate how much it's going to cost to fix those things up, and we show you how to estimate those things in our training. The trainings are private trainings, so can't just give that out to the public. So then that is free training. But then once you learn these things, you're gonna need your $200,000 for the property that you're looking at. That's just bottom line. You're gonna need the money to get it. So you give us $1,500 and you get the money for the property. That's just bottom line. So I want to thank you for listening. You got any questions? I'm about to close this little lesson out.
Oh, that was pretty good. Yeah, I was just sitting back showing my love this morning.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate you for showing up.
Yeah,
yes, sir. So you've been watching Claim Your Inheritance. This has been we've been talking about standard wholesale real estate deal. And this is the free training that you will receive with New Jerusalem, in the Club of New Jerusalem. So join the Club of New Jerusalem and help us to set up a governing structure for the nation of Israel. We have just recently been recognized as a nation by the United Nations. The real Israelites have been recognized as a nation by the United Nations, which is only the Southern Kingdom, though. So the Southern Kingdom has been recognized, which is the transatlantic slave trade people. So,
Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, right?
Absolutely. So now we got to put a governing structure in place for that. So we have a governing structure in place already in Israel, which is a monarchy. Okay, so we're gonna have to show up 3 times, present ourselves 3 times a year to that monarchy. We're gonna because the temple is there. We're gonna have to do that. So in the meantime, the people around the world are going to need a governing structure as well, which is what I call a contributionism. So Google contributionism and study that, study that process. But we need people in place to fill the positions of mayor and county commissioner and city council and what else? Governor of the. We're going to use the borders that are already in place. So you're going to be the governor. Like, say, I live in North Carolina. So if you win the election for North Carolina as the governor, then you're the governor of the border that's already in place. Because why? Because when the Most High separate the children of Adam, he separated them based on the number of the children of Israel. So he separated their borders based on the number of the children of Israel. So that's how that works. We're gonna use their borders that the Most High separated the children of Adam in. Okay. So I want to thank you guys for listening. And I'm the President Pro Tem of New Jerusalem, Crown Prince of Israel, keyboard warrior, sheep in wolf's clothing, and Nazir Devah Amiel Oz. I want to give all praises to the Heavenly Father, the wonderful Son, and the Holy Ghost. And shalom.
Shalom.